Why are you
I
laughing?
don't know. Yeah, I'm laughing at that conversation that you showed me. Hey, kunzima la ngaphandle.
Hey, my another cold weekend, get got because we don't want to have 50% sales.
This is so funny. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi everybody. Welcome to another episode of Did You See That? I am Bonolo.
And I am Nakolo.
And of course, we are back with another review. As you know, this is the show where we bring you our favorite reviews from our favorite shows into the world of social media.
Awesome.
Today, we are reviewing Forever. It's currently on Netflix. Forever, I kind of digged it. It is a coming of age story. It follows the lives of Keisha, who is a budding track star who wants to go to Howard University, and her romance with Justin. And so just to give you a quick synopsis of what the show is about, these two meet at a party, but they went to kindergarten together, or crèche for if you're in South Africa, they went there. That's where they met. Keisha has always had a crush on Justin. And so they kind of bump into each other at a party. And this is where their romance is like sparked again. And so the show...
And they're in high school now.
And they are now currently in high school. Justin wants to, well, he doesn't want to, but his main thing is like he wants to finish school. He's really, really passionate about music, but his parents are pushing him in the direction of going to Northwestern University. Keisha is wanting to go to Howard, get a track scholarship. They are from completely different backgrounds. Justin is from a very well-to-do family, white picket fence, happy-go-lucky family, and has a younger brother. Keisha is more rough around the edges in terms of, you know, her background. She's raised by a single mother. Her father is not really around, but he somehow comes into the picture later on in the show. And so, yeah, we just basically follow the tumultuous relationship between these two. And you know the decision that they now have to make in terms of the future with them wanting to go to university, etc. And so in a nutshell, that is what the show is about.
Yeah, and I think it's also, I guess at the center of it is like, will we spend forever together? And like journeying through the emotions of young love. Yeah.
Basa blockani, they block each other. They
Grounded.
each other.
Phones are confiscated.
Phones are confiscated. The one follows the other on vacation.
The one goes to prom with the guy who released her sex tape.
Oh yes, that is critical to the plot.
Yes.
So Keisha was in a relationship with a guy named Christian. Christian released a sex tape of her, and so now she's in a situation where she can't tell her mom what's happening. But she has moved schools because she was trying to get away from that and recreate, you know, her identity in a completely new place. The mom obviously doesn't know, and she is fixated on Keisha going to prom with Christian. Yeah, because
he the next LeBron child.
He the next LeBron James, and she's just like, listen, like, this is a good guy, you know, and Keisha is not forthcoming with her mom about why she doesn't want to go to prom with him, but she ends up doing it anyway, which then obviously makes Justin really upset. They block each other, they break up, they come back together.
She follows him to where he vacations with his family in the
100%.
summer. I say, talk about going to the ends of the earth.
For a man. Keisha said,
in your teenage years.
In your teenage years.
Honey.
But I really enjoyed it because I think, just to your point about, you know, them trying to look at whether they want to spend forever together, I thought it was interesting how both of them have somewhat made each other the center of each other's worlds. And so they are now like kind of faced with a conundrum in terms of the future, where Keisha really does just want to go to Howard and like, you know, achieve this dream, and not necessarily make Justin the center of her entire world. And for the longest time, Keisha has also been the center of Justin's world. And I think for the longest time, he's used her as somewhat of a crutch. And he also now gets to the point where he's like, listen, where in the final scene where he now breaks up with her, he's like, I've made you my everything and I need to just figure out myself and like what that means. We could potentially still be together and like fly across the country to see each other, but yeah, I don't think that
Yeah,
it's
I was
conscious of.
actually quite shocked that he broke up with her.
Same.
I thought, if anything, the person who would be to end it would be Keisha.
Keisha.
And I don't know if it's because of like his character in the film, but like when I was looking at Justin and Keisha's character, she always seemed like she had a lot more focus in terms of what's driving her. And that I cannot lose sight of Howard. The goal is to go to Howard, the goal is to run track, the goal is for my mom to be proud of me.
Yeah.
Where and you can see like how the environment she grows up in shapes her in that way, whereas Justin grows up in a black middle class family, but he's not like a sport brat, but he grows up in a middle class family. He's cushioned and insulated from, to a certain extent, the realities of life, and has both parents. He sees what healthy black love is,
like, yeah.
But still figuring himself out in terms of like the direction of his life. So when he broke it off, I was like, whoa, okay, this
Now,
is
where's this
character.
coming from?
This is character development that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
That I didn't expect, because throughout the film, he is following Keisha and like is so fixated on this love that he has with her. Yeah.
Yeah, I was also very surprised by that. But I think it's like you're saying, like in terms of the arc of his character, I think towards the end he's starting to figure himself out. He's starting to figure out that actually he doesn't want to go to Northwestern. He wants to make music.
And Keisha pushes him to like tell his parents.
Exactly, that like this is actually what you want to do.
I'm so proud of him.
Same. And of course his mom was like, absolutely not. Because, you know, and I think it also just speaks to the theme of like, you're a black man in America, like this is the ticket. The ticket is education and going the Ivy League route, and you know, and so with music it's a little bit more like, this is out of my control, it can go either way. Yeah. And so I thought that was interesting in terms of how Keisha was the pusher for him to go in that direction. And yeah, and just how that was also received by his mom, who, interestingly enough, the man that she's married to is not like in a conventional career as well.
The husband is a chef.
The husband is a chef as well. Like, he's very easy-go-lucky. You know, he does put weight on Justin going to university because he'd be the first black man in the family to have gone to university. But I think he has a little bit more empathy in terms of where Justin comes from, in terms of like wanting to follow his passion and
but
stuff.
The dad looked disappointed.
He was genuinely disappointed.
When Justin told his parents, I also was like, yeah, the person who would most understand this is the dad.
Yeah.
But he, the way he was like, it's life.
Yeah. He wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy. And I guess it was because he had set those expectations on him that like, you'll be the first black man in this family for generations.
Yeah.
Your grandfather wanted to go to university. I wanted to go to university. And now you will, you know. And even when Justin also pushes back to his mom and he says, but you married dad, and he's like, great, and you guys have built this life and this beautiful home. And her mom says, and his mom says, it is because of the contacts and relationships I made at Wharton and at Northwestern, you know. And so you can see that still there's just this push and this drive from his family that it's basketball, it's university, you know. And she says it because I think of her fear of what it means to be a black man in America. And even if education, she knows that education cannot insulate him from the reality, but it's the only thing that is within her power
that she can control. Yeah.
To give him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I thought that was quite interesting, that sort of dynamic. But I think another thing that really stood out for me is, for the longest time I thought Justin was an only child. I think
Girl, yes.
his brother
Because
was introduced
it's
like
at
so
episode
randomly.
3
Yeah.
when they were like, go get your brother.
I said, which one?
Who are you coming in almost halfway through the season?
One.
I was so
Yeah,
that was so random, friend.
but and I think they did that intentionally. I think it goes back to the point that you were talking about before in terms of how Justin comes from a fairly like insulated black middle class family where there's a tension on children and your parents are quite involved and heavily involved in your life in ways that we don't necessarily always see in television centered around black people. Like a lot of the times TV that has black families is it's always, you know, scattered. It's not a nuclear kind of, you know, thing. And I think they were deliberate in showing us the world that Justin has with these two parents who are heavily involved with his life. And then on top of that being like, oh, also he has a younger brother. And like, because you're the firstborn, you're the one that we're going to give attention to for now. But your brother is also still a central character in the show. So yeah, I thought it was really, really good. I loved the music. I loved how it looked. It looked pretty. I just really missed seeing beautiful black people on TV.
Do you know what it reminds
me of? Who are not going through the most.
Do you know what it reminded me of?
Yeah.
It was so nostalgic to Insecure.
That feeling, the feeling that you got when you watched Insecure.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like where to place this, and I was like, it does feel like watching black people on screen and like navigating the ways of the world and what it means to be like multifaceted black people.
Yeah.
And like the score was very black artists.
I loved it.
Yes. And like the beauty around them and like seeing black people in those spaces, their house, the colors, the house,
the house.
Healthy black love marriage.
Yeah.
Building a life.
Yeah.
I love seeing moneyed black people.
Same. But I also think it was interesting when we had a conversation earlier about the show where you had said that it did feel like a slow burn and we were interrogating why it felt that way.
Yes.
And you came to the conclusion, you're like, oh, I'm not used to seeing healthy
100%
healthy black love.
And then when and then when the healthy black love shows on screen, you're like, this is a boring series.
The drama? Like,
this is a boring series. Can't you know, like, boring be healthy?
Yeah, it's just healthy. That's just what it is. Yeah. And even the chaoticness that was happening with Keisha, right? I think the thing that stood out mostly was just the flack that she got in terms of the sex tape and how that's not like there were two people who were consensual in this act, and yet she's the one that has to uproot her life, change schools. The guy is still on track to be drafted into the NBA. Nothing really changed for him. And I thought it was cool how they explored.
Yeah, it really shows the shame that women carry and the judging that comes from things like that, whereas like men get to navigate the world unscathed by that, you know. And even like exploring Keisha's environment and home, there was still color. There was still like her relationship with the granddad, her relationship with her mom and love, you know, and intimacy and warmth. And it was refreshing to see that contrast in terms of family dynamics between hers and Justin.
Even with her dad, when her dad came about, there's one scene that really stood out to me was when he was having a conversation with her about how, you know, Keisha's mom was like the center of his world and he's observing the same kind of dynamic with the relationship that she has with Justin, and like
he ate that.
He did.
And he could only eat it because he a deadbeat. And he knows.
Actually.
He said it.
Actually,
he said it in the film. He was like, I'm a man and I can say this. I'm not saying he'll get you pregnant, but I'm a man and I can say this and I know what it means to make someone the center of your universe.
Yeah.
And I was like, you ate with that little thing.
You ate. And I was able to leave and chase my dreams.
Yay.
And your mom was here to like, you know.
she stayed.
She stayed and
she
raised
stayed.
you, basically.
Yeah, but what I didn't like about the dad was when they were celebrating Keisha's acceptance into Howard.
Girl, he was doing the most.
He was bullying Justin. He was bullying. Yes, he was overcompensating. It's like when a deadbeat dad meets a present boyfriend.
I'm screaming.
Did I lie?
You right.
It's like when a deadbeat dad meets a present boyfriend, and then you feel like, oh, I need to posture.
Yes,
it's like I'm
exactly.
the dad,
yes.
And like, who are you in her life? And like, and I think he was bullying Justin. I think he perceived Justin as meek and timid, and he just kept trying to get control of the situation and to almost like show Justin that like I'm the man of the house.
Yes, and it's like, nigga, you ain't even been
And it's
here.
like, nigga, you should not be talking like this. Like it's those dads that want to be talking now that you're graduating, and then
they now want to walk you down the aisle, my baby. They now want to do a speech about when you were still in diapers.
And Keisha's mom had to be like, you're doing too much. And even Keisha's friends were like, that's enough, because it is enough. Like he was just doing
the most.
He was just overcompensating.
He really was. I think it was somewhat like innate jealousy of Justin in a way, because it's like he's been here, he's been present, he has held Keisha's hand through like the toughest times in ways that he wasn't there. And so it was almost as if he was trying to like remind him to be like.
But I think it's also like he has that guilt.
Yeah, absolutely.
He knows.
Absolutely.
And instead of dealing with that, he was just trying to like posture to Justin of like, I'm still like her father.
Definitely. Yeah. No, it was really, really good. It was an interesting show. You guys should check it out. What would you rate it?
A 9.
A 9. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, it's been renewed for season 2. Excited to see the direction that they will go with it. I think eventually when I got into it, I did enjoy like how they're exploring young love. And young love that is like not guarded, because neither Keisha and Justin are playing a game.
That's true.
It's not a game. Like it's just two individuals that are moving in authenticity together. And so I really enjoyed.
And they communicate, hey?
Yay.
Like openly, honestly. I mean, yes, they had moments of like,
but it was healthy. It was a healthy dynamic. Like they communicate, they talk about things. Yeah.
It was like, yo, not even my age mates be communicating the way this high schooler is. But you know what? Yeah.
Honey.
Yeah. No, I think that's a solid rating. I think I'd give it the same. I think it was shot really well. It was beautiful. I think the pace was just right as well. And yeah, I enjoyed the contrast between, you could clearly see the contrast between Justin's world and Keisha's world and how they come together. And I think that speaks a lot to just how it looked, the coloring, the grading, all that stuff. So I genuinely really enjoyed it.
Love it.
Would you recommend?
I would, definitely.
Yeah. Also totally would recommend. So yeah, check it out. It is currently on Netflix. As Noxa said, it is renewed for a season 2. So make sure you binge all of season 1 before season 2 comes out. And let us know what y'all thought about Forever. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet,
and you ain't been commenting,
a lot of y'all be watching
and you ain't liking
and not giving us feedback.
These 3 things: comment, like, subscribe, please.
Like, okay,
love you
lots. Bye.